What is up, fellas? We are back for another UFC predictions video. This time for UFC Fight Night Hernandez versus Pereira. Riding a lot of momentum off last weekend. We swept the whole card last weekend, so I'm hoping to keep that momentum riding into this one. So let's jump right in. We got a pretty fun card this weekend, fellas. Opening up the card at heavyweight, Austin Lane versus Robelis Despain. Um, I think Robelis Despain here can beat Austin Lane. Austin Lane's a guy who I think on the feet, he's a little bit different from a guy like Waldo Cortez Acosta, in the sense that Austin Lane does kind of give up space, and is a bit fearful of power that comes back his way. I said this when I broke down his fights against Jonata Deniz. Uh, he kind of just backs up and he's kind of fearful of power coming back his way, which I think is going to make getting a takedown very hard for him against Robelis Despain. I think Despain is going to be able to walk him down and land a big shot on the feet. Also, he's going to be the first guy I think in Austin Lane, in Austin Lane's career that's going to be bigger and rangier than he is. I think Lane's going to struggle with this matchup, unless Lane develops some insane takedown offense out of nowhere. Um, I don't see him beating Robelis Despain outside of landing like an insanely low variance shot on the feet, which I don't see. Like if Austin Lane's not willing to shoot a takedown against Jonata Deniz or Justin Tafa, why would he be willing to shoot a takedown against Robelis Despain? You know what I mean? Uh, I think Despain's more powerful, better on the feet, more reach, more experience striking, uh, and I don't think he's scared to get hit like Austin Lane is. So I'm going to go with Robelis Despain by TKO. Moving up to women's strawweight, Melissa Martinez versus Alice Adreline. Um, the women's fights on this card are absolute slot fests, I'm going to be honest, and it's really hard to get a read on any of these. I'm going to go with Melissa Martinez here in this fight. Um, she lost to Elise Reed in her debut. She was 7-0, but I think she's got decent boxing, okay striking. She's the younger lady by 5 years. She's got a 4-inch reach advantage, and I think she's just better on the feet. Alice Adreline, I think, does have a little bit of a grappling edge here, but on the feet, I watched her get outstruck by Shauna Banan, and Shauna Banan has some of the worst striking I've ever seen in a cage. It's bad. Um, I think Melissa Martinez is just going to be able to outbox her. I think she'll be able to stop takedown attempts on her. She was beaten up by Elise Reed pretty bad, but Elise Reed's not terrible. Um, yeah, I think Melissa Martinez here is going to win a decision over Alice Adreline. This is going to be a really close fight, though. Both of these ladies kind of suck, so it's kind of hard to get a vibe for who's really going to go out there and win. But I'm going to go with Martinez. I think she's better on the feet, and I think she'll keep Adreline at the end of her punches and win like a split decision. I feel like this is one of those fights where it's just a split decision. This card might be a split decision fest, or at least for these women's MMA fights. Moving up to women's strawweight again, Jessica Penne versus Elise Reed. Um, I'm gonna go with Elise Reed hesitantly, because she's not very good either, but neither is Jessica Penne. Jessica Penne is rocking a 4-inch reach advantage. She's going to be the bigger lady in there, but she is 41 years old. She is by far the oldest fighter on this card. Well, actually, not by far. Darren Elkins is on this card, so, but she is the oldest fighter on this card. 41 is just fucking ancient, man. Um, I don't think Elise Reed's that bad. She's got okay stand up, okay power in her hands. She is susceptible to the submission, which is a bit worrisome against Jessica Penne, but I think Elise Reed will largely be able to keep this fight on the feet and outstrike Jessica Penne. I think she can get through that 4-inch reach advantage, work her way inside, and land the shots she needs to. I'm going to go with Elise Reed here. I think she's going to win a decision here, maybe like a 29-28. Once again, I think this fight's going to be very close. Could even be a split decision as well. Who knows, man? Moving up to women's bantamweight, Jocelyn Edwards versus Tamirez Vidal. We have a three-peat of unranked women's MMA fighting, guys. Lock in. This one I'm more confident in. I'm gonna go with Jocelyn Edwards over Tamirez Vidal. I just think Jocelyn Edwards is a better fighter. Better in the stand-up. Her takedown defense has looked largely improved. Her submission defense, I think, is fine. I don't see Tamires Vidal getting a submission over Jocelyn Edwards. And I think on the feet, she's the bigger lady. I think she's a better striker. I think she'll win this fight. She's got a lot more experience. I think she'll probably win a decision in this fight. I think she'll probably get like a 30-27, just keeping Tamires Vidal on the end of her punches and just being the more technically sound kickboxer here. I don't rate Tamires Vidal uh, at all. Moving up to bantamweight, Brad Katana versus Gene Masumoto. I'm going with Gene Masumoto here. This line's a bit wide, but I kind of understand why. Gene Masumoto, very dangerous guy, made his debut against Dan Argueta not too long ago. Looked a little bit sketchy. Looked a little bit sketchy against Dan Argueta for a little bit, but found the submission. He's got a full camp for this fight against Brad Katana. Now, Brad Katana is quite good, quite well rounded, but I think Gene Masumoto, much younger guy, giant reach advantage. And I think he's going to be making improvements from fight to fight in his game. I can't say the same for Brad Katana at this point in his career. I think Gene Matsumoto is the side here. I think he's going to get a decision here, probably 29-28. Maybe he finishes Brad Katana, but Brad Katana is a tough guy. He's a hard guy to finish. But I think Gene Matsumoto will get the better of Brad Katana in the striking exchanges. I don't see Brad Katana just manhandling him in the grappling, and even if he does try that, I think Gene Matsumoto can catch him with a submission as well. I believe in Gene Matsumoto here. I think he'll get himself a decision win here over Brad Katana. Moving up to flyweight, Mateus Nicolau versus Asu Almabayev. Guys, this fight is I think this fight, or not this fight, this line is a little insulting. I think I'm going to go with Mateus Nicolau over Asu Almabayev. I know Mateus Nicolau's lost twice by TKO in his last two fights, but they're to actual legitimate ranked flyweights with good stand up. Asu Almabayev, like, if I don't think Asu Almabayev is going to go out there and dominate Nicolau in the grappling. I really don't. Mateus Nicolau is a guy who kind of works his range and space very well. He's pretty dangerous on the feet. He's got good power. He's very patient. He's got great timing on the feet. And he's got decent enough takedown defense. He's also got a submission threat as well. Maybe he can use a submission to sweep up to his feet if he does get taken down. Like Asu Almabayev, he's almost a 2-1 favorite. And man, like you look at the guys he's fighting, like Jose Johnson's awful. He took CJ Vergara to a decision. CJ Vergara just got knocked out in 2 minutes by a guy making his UFC debut. CJ Vergara almost lost to Daniel Lacerda. Like, this guy beat Ode Osborne. Am I supposed to give a shit? Like I think Asu Almabayev is really good, but I don't think he should be the favorite in this matchup at all. Like, when we look at Mateus Nicolau, I know he lost to Perez and Royval. Royval just had a fucking legacy performance. Perez got his knee blown out against Tatsuro Taira, who's really fucking good. But like this run here in the UFC, like Manel Kopp, Tim Elliott, Dvorak, Schnell. I'll even throw Felipe Efrain in there because he's not too shabby either. This is a legit run against really legit guys. I don't think he should be the underdog here against Asu Almabayev. I think these guys should be even closer to evens. I do think Asu Almabayev is good. He's got a great wrestling pace. He's got a good cardio for 3 rounds, but I think he's much worse on the feet. And if he doesn't get the takedown that easily, what does he have for Mateus Nicolau? You know what I mean? Not much. I think I'm going to go with Mateus Nicolau. I could see this being like a really close fight and Mateus Nicolau getting like a 29-28 decision or maybe even a split. I think this fight is going to be very close though. But yeah, I think I'm going to lean Nicolau just slightly. But we will see how legit Almabayev is here. This is the fight to see it. Because Nicolau is really quite good. He's very well-rounded. Opening up the main card at featherweight, Darren Elkins versus Daniel Pineda. I'm going with Daniel Pineda. I just think there's a more of a danger factor. More potential to finish a fight. You know, Daniel Pineda just competed pretty well against Nathaniel Wood for all 3 rounds. Granted, he got dominated. But he had no quit in him. He was throwing big power shots the whole time, showing off some serious durability and heart in that fight. And Darren Elkins, I don't think he has to worry so much about any power or any strength really to get him taken to the mat. Like Darren Elkins is just so old at this point. He looks so stiff when he fights, and he hasn't fought in a year. I can see Daniel Pineda landing a big shot on the feet because Pineda has big power, and Elkins does not move his head. Daniel Pineda's also got really good submissions as well. So if he does rock Elkins, I could see him going for submission. I could see him getting it too. But we'll see though. I think I'm gonna go with Daniel Pineda by TKO over Darren Elkins. It's just Darren Elkins is 40. I know Daniel Pineda is 39, but watching both of these guys fight, it's like it looks like there's more than 1 year separating these guys in age. It's just Elkins just is very stiff and rigid, and he doesn't move quite right or quite well. And I can see Pineda throwing big low kicks at Elkins and hurting him with those. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Daniel Pineda here. I think he'll get a finish over Darren Elkins at this point. I also hate the year layoff for Darren Elkins. Uh yeah. Maybe Darren Elkins pulls off the magic like he does sometimes, but I'm just not seeing it there. Moving up to bantamweight, Brady Highstand versus Jake Hadley. Guys, I'm going with Jake Hadley over Brady Highstand. Um, I just don't think Brady Highstand is all that good. I like I know that's not a good reason for picking against him, especially at his natural weight class. But like Garrett Armfield's okay. He's dangerous. Dana, not that good. Taking him into the third round. Fernie Garcia's terrible. We're losing to Ricky Turcios. You know, like Jake Hadley's only ever lost to good fighters. Really, he lost to Cody Durden. He lost to Charles Johnson, and he lost to Alan Nascimento. You know, like those are really good fighters, especially Alan Nascimento. Um, yeah, I Jake Hadley looked good in his bantamweight debut against Calvin Lochran. I thought Lochran would be able to muscle him around in the grappling, but Calvin Lochran doesn't have a brain in that fucking dense skull of his, and he didn't really shoot any takedowns. And Jake Hadley just worked a really nice jab and was snapping his head back the entire fight, just staying on the outside and landing the better shots. And I think he can do that against Brady Highstand. But my thing is, if he's able to snap back the head of Callan Lochran, who's built like a deep freeze refrigerator, a Brady Highstand's chin is genuinely suspect. Like his chin is bad. And if he gets dropped by Jake Hadley, I think Jake Hadley has the submission skills to finish him. I really do. Now, I can also see a world where Brady Highstand gets the takedowns and spams the takedowns and controls Jake Hadley because he's a natural bantamweight, but that's boring. Boo. Nobody wants to see that. Even though Brady Highstand has a lot of finishes, I don't much care for him. But yeah, I think Jake Hadley is more technical on the feet. I think he's got good submission skills. I think he could catch Brady Highstand in something. Um, it's either that or Brady Highstand is able to just get takedowns at will and finishes Jake Hadley perhaps with a submission. But I just don't see it. I just don't think Brady Highstand is that good. So I'm going with Jake Hadley. I think I'm going to go with Jake Hadley by like decision. I think this will be a really closely contested fight. I think he'll probably get it 29-28. Maybe Brady Highstand gets himself a takedown and controls a lot of a round. Maybe late in round 3 or something. But I think Jake Hadley banks the first 2. But we'll see. I'm interested to see this fight. And if Brady Highstand wins, I will concede that he is good at fighting. Moving up to flyweight, Charles Johnson versus Sumu Darji. Now, guys, I have to say it every single time. The Charles Johnson curse. I have it. I'm very bad at picking Charles Johnson fights. I always have been. You know, I'm just throwing that out there. So take what I say with a grain of salt here. But I am picking Charles Johnson to beat Sumu Darji. Charles Johnson has just looked really good lately. Knocked out Joshua Van in his last fight. Looked really improved on the feet, honestly. I love the activity for him. He's very active. He doesn't take a lot of damage. He seems like he's always in shape and in camp. He's very dynamic with his footwork. Switches stances a lot. Moves laterally a lot. Good stand-up as well. Sumu Darji's very fast. Decent power. But where I think this fight can easily be ended is if Charles Johnson just decides to go for a takedown. Because if he does, he'll get it. Sumidarji just has no grappling defense at all. Tim Elliott rolled him up and smoked him very easily. Matt Schnell rolled him up and smoked him, not so easily, but Sumidarji couldn't put out Matt Schnell. So do we really respect Sumidarji's power that much? I don't think so. I just think Charles Johnson here is, at this point in his career, he's hitting his stride right now. He's been looking really good. I'm going to trust in Charles Johnson to beat Sumu Darji here. Even if it's a stand-up affair, I think Charles Johnson's volume and his pace over 3 rounds will be enough as well. I think Charles Johnson will win this fight. I think he'll probably get a decision here over Sumu Darji. Probably, I'm going to say like 30-27 over Sumu Darji here in this fight. Moving up to bantamweight, Rob Font versus Kyler Phillips. This line is insane. Kyler Phillips almost fucking minus 450 here. But I am going to go with Kyler Phillips to win, just because I think at this point in his career, he's very young. He's very technical on the feet. He's got very good speed with all 4 of his limbs. He can mix it up well. He's got decent takedowns as well. Rob Font at this point in his career, I think he's on his way out. Kyler Phillips is coming off of, I believe, a win over Pedro Munoz, which, you know, if you can beat Pedro Munoz and beat him decisively like Kyler Phillips did, you could probably get one over Rob Font too, I'm going to be honest. Rob Font's got good boxing, technically very sound. His chin lets him down a lot, and he doesn't have very good grappling defense. That's my problem. I trust the Kyler Phillips chin more than I trust the Rob Font chin. I trust the Kyler Phillips grappling more than I trust the Rob Font grappling. And I think on the feet, they're pretty even. I think Font's a better pure boxer, but I think Phillips can mix up the kicks very well on Rob Font. So I'm just going to go with Kyler Phillips. I think he'll probably beat Rob Font. He may be a late TKO. I could see it. Maybe catches him with something. Rob Font kind of does that thing where he kind of like shells up and he gets all wobbly. Maybe Kyler Phillips goes, shoots a takedown and finishes him with a ground and pound or something, like rounds 2 or 3. I could see it happening. Yeah, I'm going to go with Kyler Phillips by TKO. I don't think Rob Font's a bad underdog here, though, because he does have a ton of veteran experience. He does have good boxing, good power. Could happen. I just don't personally see it, but who knows? Moving up to our middleweight main event, Anthony Hernandez versus Michel Pereira. Guys, I am going with Michel Pereira over Anthony Hernandez here in this fight. I'm going with the underdog. I understand why Anthony Hernandez is the favorite, especially in a 5-rounder. Very good pace, very good pressure, very good endurance, very good grappling. Not too shabby on the feet as well. But when I think of this fight in my head, there is a fight of Michel Pereira's that I specifically think of as a way he beats Anthony Hernandez, and it's his fight against Miguel Oleksiejczuk. Now, if I remember this fight correctly, Michel Pereira dropped Oleksiejczuk very early with a big shot to the body. And Miguel Oleksiejczuk, despite not being a grappler, he's similar to Anthony Hernandez in the fact that they have a very pressure-heavy style, and they are in your face. And I think they are both quite susceptible to body work. I think Hernandez is even more so susceptible to body work than a Miguel Oleksiejczuk. I think Michel Pereira can land a big shot, whether that be a kick or a knee, to the solar plexus of a guy like Anthony Hernandez early, especially early, and hurt him bad with it and get himself an early finish. I just see it in my mind's eye, you know? Michel Pereira at middleweight has been a demon. I know he's had some ugly fights at welterweight, but I think he's a different fighter at this weight class. I really do. You know, just finished Ihor Potieria. Cesar Almeida couldn't do that in 3 rounds, by the way. Clubbed and subbed him. I think that's what's going to happen here. I think he's going to club and sub Anthony Hernandez. I think early, Michel Pereira is going to be far too physically strong for Anthony Hernandez to get down or keep down with regularity. I think the deeper this fight goes, though, obviously Anthony Hernandez will start to take over. But I think Michel Pereira is much more dangerous on the feet. I think early he's going to be stronger. And I think Anthony Hernandez is susceptible to being caught with something big early on while Michel Pereira is fresh. And if Michel Pereira does hurt Anthony Hernandez early, I'm not sure if Anthony Hernandez, even though he's tough as hell, I'm not sure he makes it out of that, to be honest. I'm gonna go with Michel Pereira. I think he's gonna TKO Anthony Hernandez in round two or round one, rounds one or two. But yeah, that's it for this one, fellas. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it so much. Uh, hopefully we do good on this card as well. The last 2 or 3 weeks we've been doing really good on. Um, don't forget to subscribe. I'm almost at 100. We're at 92 right now. I appreciate it as always. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.